The last 2 weeks, it's just been the two of us. We've been talking shit, messing around, arguing, having fun, having a good old time. We brought a friend along this time. We have brought a friend along, and it's about fucking time. We have MaxibonBloke. Ari, welcome. Welcome to the Roll Down podcast. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for having me. I've been harassing you for weeks to get on here. Now it's finally time.
Guys, it
Um,
just goes to show if you harass us enough, we will let you on the podcast.
hey, they're letting anyone on these days.
Yeah, it's only
But
episode 9 and we're down to Maxi already.
What do you
so
what do you mean? Mexi's a challenger player now, bro.
That's true.
hey,
He's an
work
important
hard, play
person.
hard, play
Work.
cat,
Important
play
person.
Ligma.
Yeah. Maxi, look, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. This is going to be a really fun episode. I want to ask you first, sort of a little bit about your relationship with TFT, how you got started, where the sort of the love for the game came from, and a little bit about your sort of your most recent sort of 6 months or so where you've kind of really been popping off as well.
Alright, so yeah, hi, my name is MaxibonBloke. I am currently sitting at 600 LP, and I've been playing the game since set 1, but only about 20 or so games until set 3, where I finally, figured out you could just one trick, I think it was like Mech Infiltrator and then Void Sin. And yeah, then there's like that disgusting Zaya Jarvan comp that I pretty much 2020'd each time they were popular. But yeah, I've been Masters since set 3 until last set where I actually tried giving it a good crack and I hit Challenger at 1100 LP peak. Had a bet with Dani and unfortunately he got top 10 first, so had to pay him out big time for that. But yeah, I've always been a kind of casual league player since high school. My friends convinced me to play, and I never really got into it. My APM sucks, which is kind of why I got drawn to TFT. And
Same.
yeah, the rest is history.
Love that. I love that.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of people came from League of Legends because they weren't very good at League of Legends, but they liked League of Legends.
yeah,
That
true.
that's the most important part. You have to like League of Legends to want to play TFT to realize that it's a better game. We've got a bit of we got a lot to talk about tonight. Some serious stuff first, and then we're going to get into a little bit more fun stuff later on. There has been in the last couple of hours an announcement about a B patch. Before we get into the B patch, though, what is going on in this patch is the big question. It's getting a B patch very quickly after. I mean, it was a month break. We spoke a lot last episode about the month break. We spoke a lot about the variety of changes that they were doing. They basically went down every single change for an hour and a half, and we ended up here now a week later, and there's 2 pages worth of changes again. So what's going on with this patch?
It's kind of wild actually. The mainly two things stick out. That's the strength of Akali. They buffed Akali 1 star, and I think they buffed Akali 2 star as well. And yeah, that champ's been popping off. And the other big elephant in the room would be Cho'Gath. That unit is unkillable after they buffed his HP. And to a lesser extent, Protectors with Cogmore has also been.
A lot of those are targets for some nerfs. So I want to go to Maxi now and sort of ask you a little bit about what you've been playing this last week. You said before, you sort of said off stream before we got started. You said 2 weeks ago you were zero LP, you were having a horrible time, and now you're sitting pretty safely in Challenger. So what's been the big difference for you in the last week?
The big difference for me is I'm used to playing for Fast 8 and just playing Flex. Last patch, it was more of a you roll early, you pick your comp, and you don't pivot. So, like, that's the Trundle, the Warwick, Katarina. Just the faster pace of the lobby generally. I just have this idea in my head that 4 costs should be stronger than 2 costs, which is sometimes not true, and it's a bit of a learning experience, just figuring out what works and what doesn't. So, like, a week ago, I was 0 LP. I think the day before the patch came out, I just said, fuck it, I'm going to play whatever's strong right now. Got up to about 200, and then 2 days after the patch was out, I got up to 500 LP, which was like kind of insane. I didn't really read the patch notes, I just knew Akali was strong, and like Kog'Maw, Cho'Gath, and I was pretty much exclusively playing those, unless I got a Merc start, where I just managed to hit like the Bill Gates comp or a pretty stacked Urgot Jinx. But
Yeah.
yeah. And
Fair enough.
feels like it clicked a lot more this patch.
They definitely changed the tempo of the game significantly, that's for sure. The game slowed down a lot compared to last patch. Because now, you don't take 20 every round on stage 3, which is great. Feels awesome. You don't get like randomly hit by 5 innovators at 2-7 for 15 or something like that. It's an absolute serious change, but with serious change comes even more serious change, and that is the B patch. We're going to go over them. I'm going to sort of go down the list and we'll kind of talk about it. I'm going to start with the augments. First of all, first one here, Mutant Unstable Evolution. Dropping down the bonus health and the bonus AD, AP, and attack speed. Soul's nodding his head. Necessary change?
Very necessary. Very, very necessary. I mean, it's part of the problem. Part of the problem of these unkillable Cho'Gaths and these Pokemons that just shred entire teams is the strength of the Unstable Evolution trait. Augment, that's for sure. Plus stats.
Yeah. I mean, totally understandable. Maxi, your sort of overall thoughts on mutants?
I think mutants are too strong at the moment, but like they do still have a counter. The problem with that is only a maximum of 2 people can play that counter and reasonably expect a top 4. So it just runs the risk of, do you want to counter this comp or do you want to play for a top 4 and just try like just survive as long as you can, right?
Yeah, I understand that. Absolutely. Windfall is getting a little bit of a change. It's actually getting a buff at 3-3 and then 4-6. And that is 5 gold and then 5 gold at both. Oh, sorry, 5 gold and then 10 gold at 4-6.
It's a big one.
Again,
so
also
necessary.
necessary. Very necessary.
I mean, there's a hilarious clip of Milk complaining to Moto, nagging him above Windfall at level at 2-1 or 1-4, whatever it is. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but yeah. And I don't know. I feel like I'm inclined to agree though. I think Windfall is still too weak at 1-4, but it is necessary to buff it at 4-6 especially, because right now 35 gold at 4-6 is pretty bad. It's just not a lot of money.
The rate that everybody is getting good stuff at 4-6 at the moment is way too high, basically. So if your only option is to get 45 gold, then you better make use of that gold, basically. Like, because otherwise it's too, you don't get enough out of it with what it is at the moment. You really need that extra gold.
Yeah, 35 feels like a slap in the face right now. Yeah.
I've actually taken that 35 and it did nothing for me. Like, I got to level 8 a little faster, but compared to some of the other boards, I was so happy with the 6 that game.
Underdogs is getting a nerf, dropping 2% on the heal and 50 on the healing cap. Maxi, what are your thoughts on this?
I actually haven't done the math into it, but the healing cap was mainly there for Tahm Kench and then Colossus, right?
Yeah.
You can't realistically expect anyone outside of like those and maybe like the 6-8 bruiser to actually hit that cap. So it does look like a big number, but it's just really at the high end where Cho'Gath has like 10k HP and he's just stacking infinite, unkillable.
It's mostly just really strong right now with Colossus units, because all the Colossus units are sort of in meta right now. Like, Cho'Gath is obviously the elephant in the room, but Sion and Galio also got buffs, and they're pretty good as well in the current meta, so it's just really, really strong with the Colossus frontline.
That shit's unkillable. Seriously.
It's just unkillable.
It's seriously
That's
unkillable. Next up, we've got Ascension. 75% damage increase down to 65. This is surely a pretty like simple nerf. They're basically doing. I'm noticing a trend already that they're actually nerfing the absolute crap out of anything that helps Colossuses exist. Really?
I mean, they don't need as much help now. They're pretty strong after the buffs. So.
Yeah, realistically, they can tone down
yeah.
some of the stuff that buffs up Colossus. I think it's like way too good. Like Ascension in its current form before nerf is way too good right now. 75% damage is insane.
Yeah, I mean, me and Maxi were talking a bit about this before the pod started because I think part of it is that like okay, so the interesting part is that if you go back a patch before, Ascension was basically like almost unplayable, like it's very very fringe. But then now this patch Ascension is insane, so it's like yeah, a lot of that has to do with the fact that you know a lot of the 2-cost mirror comps that spike early got nerfed, right? So the tempo of fights has naturally slowed down, right? So now a lot of fights actually go to that 15-second Ascension timer, which case 75% is a lot of damage. Yeah.
And God, everything really is going to the Ascension timer at the moment. That's for sure.
yeah. A lot of slow. Like right now, there's a lot of comps that kill you slowly. Like Urgot kills you really slowly. Cho'Gath kills you pretty slowly. Jhin kills you somewhat slowly. Kills you somewhat slowly.
Challenger's not really in the meta at the moment, but
That's not
the
right?
main concern. Like Yone and Sins are the ones that don't really use the Ascension well.
Yeah. Like Challenger, like Yone was the main comp that killed you really quickly, and Sin Katarina was the comp that killed you really quickly, right? Akali doesn't really kill you that quickly. Akali actually kills you somewhat slowly. Akali takes time to scale as the fight goes on. So yeah, like it has to do with the fact that the comps that don't matter right now all kill you somewhat slowly, and just have front lines that take forever to get through.
Yeah, it's very true. That was all the augment changes. A couple of necessary ones in there, I think. Let's move on to the champions. Castellan's getting a nerf and a bug fix. Damage reduction no longer stacks on itself is the bug fix. Castellan's way too broken right now, and I guess that bug is probably a significant reason for it. Yep. Nobody is even like... Half the people that I'm seeing in like high elo lobbies that I've been watching and things like that aren't even going for Garen 3. They're just like immediately going for Castellan 3 and then leveling. And for for better chances at Cogmore. It's ridiculous.
It's giving me set 1 flashbacks. It's giving me set 1 Void Sins flashbacks. 3-star Castellan. 3-star Castellan just doesn't fucking ever die. Yeah.
So, and it's a pretty simple spell damage reduction of 5% as well. I think that this probably brings Cassidy back into a good place, I would say. Don't think Cassidy's going to be OP after this bug fix, specifically. Okay. There have been a lot of bugs this set, a lot more than I can remember, at the very least, going, and that's just because of how different, like, how crazy the augments are, really. There's so many of them that they just create a shitload of problems.
There's just so many systems, like so many like overlapping interactions. It's
Darius is getting a 20 mana nerf as well. Maxi, your thoughts on Darius? I know you said something off the pod that I think would probably be good to repeat here, really.
Yeah, so like Darius essentially has the same problem as Camille last patch, where it's in a ridiculously strong late game comp, but the problem is getting there, right? So you just stack 2 to 3 items on Camille, now Darius, and you can safely make it to level 8, where you roll for the Akali, you roll for Camille, the Yone, and the Kai'Sa, and the Fiora, right? And so, essentially, you're getting a free fast 8 without having to actually do much to work for it, and it's just pretty much a given. So, this unkillable Darius will be nerfed a bit, it'll still be good, but you'll probably want to look at replacing it with a Braum for the items a little bit earlier now. Maybe roll down a little at 7, which I think is pretty healthy for the game.
Yeah. Triple nerf to Cho'Gath coming up next. 100 health off, a 15 mana nerf, and 10 AD nerf. 10 AD nerf is huge.
Very well deserved.
Yeah, very, very, very well deserved. Very, very well deserved indeed. Cho'Gath's too fucking good. And
yeah, that's kind of strong. That's kind of strong.
I just want to remind everybody what we said last week. Don't fucking bring Colossus back in set 6.5. It's so
to the choir.
They cannot fucking balance this shit. They've proved it. They've already proved that they can't fucking do it. It's ridiculous. It's
Getting close. Okay. I'll give them a little bit of credit. They're getting close. They're getting really close. I'm happy with where Sion is at. Galio still needs a bit of work. And Cho'Gath, I think Cho'Gath is doomed as a unit. I think that unit's either broken or garbage. But I'm happy with Sion's at. 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3.
Yeah, 1 out of 3 ain't bad. I will say that we thought the Galio nerf would wreck him, worse last week. We sort of said that it was like a lot to do to take away both of his identities, basically. But he's come out all right, actually, and I think that's because of the Colossus things that work well with Colossus being really good. So I feel like after these nerfs as well, we might also need to see a buff to Galio next patch or something like that. Really.
If you see the next page, it's pretty funny. You say that. It's foreshadowing. But yeah.
Maxi, you're a listener of this podcast, and I hope that's okay to say, and I hope you don't say no, you're not. You've never heard of us before. Do you sort of agree with that sentiment about Colossus? Like, fuck it off and don't bring it back?
I mean, they've shown that it has potential, but unless they find a way to reasonably balance it, I think it's not worth trying to put in the next set. Like, it's a good idea, and I'm happy that they brought it out, but if they can't make it work within this set, then it's just going to create more problems for them next set when they have new synergies, new augments, and new things to balance it around that they haven't really been able to test out.
Very true. Samira getting a buff. Not as big as what was originally planned, but still a buff. What are you guys' thoughts on Samira right now? I guess it's challenges as a whole, really, that's a bit weak at the moment.
Yeah, Samira's kind of in a bad state because Samira's a front to back champion, and right now the front lines are very, very durable. Partly because Colossus, partly because people just play really tanky front lines right now, so Samira kind of has trouble cutting through things. I've personally seen Samira 3 bot 4 way too many times in my own lobbies, but that just might be biased. That might be really, really skewed data, but I don't think she's very good right now. She can use the help.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. My personal experience is Samira's still playable, but unless you're in a full Akali, full tank lobby, then she's gonna have a lot of problems getting through the traditional comps that she counters, like Arcanist, Jin comps, where the damage is quite far back and not quite in her face, like Cho'Gath and Kog'Maw.
Let's keep it going. Vex, 2 buffs. Beyond necessary. This unit is really bad right now.
Look at that design.
We did say that they would gut Vex and that it was necessary for them to do so, but they were always going to bring Vex back in line after they realized that it was ruined. Do you guys think that this is enough? Do we think we need more out of Vex? 5% on the shield and 50, 75, and 100 on the shield spell.
That's still less than what she originally was, right? I think I remember it being 20%. I mean, I guess we'll see over the next week or so. But yeah, she's unplayable at this point. If you're playing Arcanist, you're trolling.
I'm happy for them to slowly push it back up. I would rather they slowly try and push it back up rather than just immediately push it all the way back up and crash it. So I mean, I think this is good.
It's definitely better. It's definitely better.
I think that Vex is really, really important for Arcanist because Vex is what British mid game for Arcanist. Right now, Arcanist mid game just feels unplayable because Vex is just not very good right now. So yeah.
We've got 4 costs now. Fiora getting a buff. What do you guys think of that?
Good. I want Fiora carry to be a thing. We're getting close. We're getting close to being good.
Fiora's in a really nice spot right now, but a little bit more healing will definitely do the comps a pretty good amount.
The main issue with Fiora right now, it feels like you need 4 items on her, right? It feels like you need like a healing item, like 3 damage items, and yeah, plus like socialite. It's just like she needs it too much. So
yeah, I've seen like the most times I've seen Fiora being played as a carry is after Merc cash outs, you play 3 socialite Fiora with 2 challenger, and then just a lot of utility around it, and it's not the best, especially with the Fiora cast bug.
I've managed to make it work like once Fiora carry, and even then it felt really underpowered. But like in theory, Meta should be perfect for Fiora. She's like the single target damage unit. She's meant to counter like the Colossus units. Doesn't really, because the Colossus units are a bit too fat, and she doesn't quite do enough damage still. But it's close. Still a bit of health, I think.
She has such an insane fall off in the late game. That's the thing. Like if you get one early, it's really good, and then the diminishing returns on it when everybody starts to upgrade their boards is so high that you just end up losing way too much.
That's the thing, right? I didn't even bring that up, but it feels like she really, really needs QSS as well, so she doesn't like randomly get like interrupted when she's channeling.
Yeah.
That was like the other thing I noticed when I played Fiora. Like I had a QSS on it, and that was the only reason I felt like I was able to get through the late game. But, yeah.
Understandable, to be honest, as well. Look, we've got a bunch of adjustments to Yone. The big one is this bug fix. Yone's clone no longer double benefits from Challenger and Academy's stat buffs. So we were talking about this, where Yone's clone is essentially like twice as powerful as Yone is right now, essentially. So it's basically having one character with 300% worth of power in its ability. It's very strange. And because of that, Yone's AD and attack speed are going up by a reasonable amount. What the fuck is going on with Yone?
I mean, it explains so much, right? It explains why 6 challenge Yone board's last patch was just deleting everything in 3 seconds. Because the Yone clone is getting 320% attack speed on resets. It's actually so funny to me. But yeah. There you go. I think this is good. Thank God. We'll have to see, because 90 AD is a lot of AD, and 0.85 attack speed is a decent amount. We'll have to see where Yone lands after this, but
there's a good bit of stuff in there for Yone, and I like that. Maxi, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've only really played Challenger this patch if I haven't been able to hit anything else, so I'm coming in from a low roll perspective, but it did seem pretty stable with what I was able to throw together, so this would be an interesting change, for sure.
I think we might need to see a buff the challenges, to be honest. Or at the very least, buff the units, for God's sake. Buff some of the units.
I'm down to buff the units, but keep the vertical as is. I don't really think... Yeah. I'm down to buff the units, but keep the vertical as is.
Yeah. Agreed.
Alright, let's move on to the next page. Foreshadowing, indeed. We have double nerfs to Galio. 100 health and 10 AD. I think this is the very wrong decision for Galio.
They really don't want Clavio to be a thing. They
No.
really, really don't want Clavio to be a thing.
By the end of this set, Galio's going to have 90 AD or something.
Fuck, there's no AD anymore. Jesus fucking Christ.
They've taken like 40 AD off this unit, basically, in 2 patches.
Okay, but high key though, 1900 HP is so much HP for a 1-star unit.
Oh, certainly, it's a lot. Absolutely. I think this is the wrong decision, really. I don't think that Galio needs a double nerf right now. I think with the nerf to a lot of the augments and the other, Cho'Gath especially, I think it's probably, Galio's probably reasonably in line. Just keep nerfing the AD, sure, but like don't fuck his tank ability up as well. It's totally unnecessary.
It's kind of weird that Galio got hit and then Sion just got away scot-free. But yeah, sorry, you keep continuing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, Sion did get away scot-free. Maybe because they're happy with Sion.
Yeah.
And I think you seemed relatively happy with it as well.
Oh yeah, I think Sion's super good. Yeah, I think Sion's like good. But yeah.
I just think that the augment nerfs are a reasonable nerf to Colossus as a whole. So it does sort of bring all of them back down. If you're going to double nerf Galio, why do you not just nerf one of his things that he's good at. Like, you don't have to nerf both sides of him. It's really unnecessary. We said this last time. You want to make him a tank, make him a fucking tank. Gut his AD to fucking 20 for all I care. It doesn't matter. But at the very least, don't ruin what makes him an interesting and fun unit. His, like, tank ability.
Fair enough, yeah.
So, I don't know. Maxi, what are your thoughts on Galio overall?
I feel like he is in a good spot currently. He can't win overtime by himself due to his cast time. And I've seen him lose a lot to overtime or have a draw. The health, yeah, he's supposed to be the tankiest unit in the game. The Clepio build definitely isn't as strong at the moment. I'd be happy with no changes because you're always building like either a Warmog's Bramble or a Stone Plate, and he's going to be tanky no matter what. 100 health I don't think is going to change anything. But he will be less viable as a carry now, at the very least.
Yeah, agreed on that one, absolutely. Next up, triple nerfing Akali.
Thank God.
This is a very, very reactionary change that is very necessary. Minus 50 health, minus damage at level 1, and minus execute level at level 1 and 2. Big nerfs. Big nerfs for a unit that's really been dominating this week of the patch.
I mean honestly, sorry, Maxi, you go. No, you're our guest. You go first.
Okay. So I feel like if a lot of people weren't complaining as much, this change might have gone under the radar. Like, I've seen so many games where Akali's been countered with CC or just can't stack up fast enough, but I feel like if you're nerfing Akali in 3 places, nerfing her premier item in Archangels, then it's just going to go back to where it was before and no one's going to be playing Syndicate again. But I do think at least these 3 changes are going to be healthy. Akali 2's still going to be super good, but it's going to have the same thing as Jinx and other 5-cost carries, that you really need them 2-star to be stable, but you still might be able to win some fights with a 1-star 5-cost.
Yeah, and it's hard because they made Akali like just pivotable. Like if you hit one Akali, you could just immediately move to the entire comp if you wanted to.
It was way too pivotable.
Yeah.
It was way too easy to pivot into it. Is part of the issue.
Like all you needed was basically to find like on your roll down after you hit an Akali, you just needed to find Brom, Zyra, and then you were done.
But the thing is, half the time you didn't even need Syndicate if you had the right items. You just needed Akali in and frontline, and you're good to go. Like that's your damage sorted, right? Yeah.
And you could pivot to it from anywhere, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so from me trying to play Akali and going like 7th to 8th a bunch of times with it, I think like what I figured out is that like it's actually not that broken because if you play it from a loose streak low roll perspective, you don't have a lot of HP. It's actually not very stable because Akali fight energy is really random. Because Akali has no real positioning nuances. She kind of just does whatever the fuck she wants. Some fights she just completely pops off. Other fights she shits the bed. Like low HP, a lot of times you actually just like eventually get a bad fight and lose. But Akali feels really oppressive from like a high HP standpoint. If you're rolling down with like 70, 80 HP spare and you hit the Akali, you're like just so stable to just go all the way to 9. Yeah, but other than that, pretty good.
There's a significantly higher emphasis on going level 9 at the moment on this patch as well. Like half the lobby is level 9 by the end of the game. Whereas, of course, the biggest difference between this patch and last patch is just time. You've just got way more time now to exist in the game, to play the game, to find different outs and things like that. I like that HP, direction. Right? Yeah, more HP. You got more HP to work with. Basically, like 20, really.
Yeah, because you don't have to pay the cat tax anymore. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's basically 20 more HP.
So, I mean, it's great news. It's great news for that sort of build, but fuck, man. I mean...
You go.
Bringing Akali in line is so necessary. It's just...
Well, the issue is the 1-star version, right? That's like the it's like the crux. You shouldn't just be able to high roll a 5-cost, a single copy, and just be like, boom, that's my carry, I'm done. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It shouldn't be that easy. Yeah.
And right now it's like that for a lot of units. Archangel's getting a nerf. Maxi, you just sort of talked about it. It's good on 1.5 units, maybe. It's not great on a significant amount of other units outside of Akali. Like, I think that it's pretty good on Lysandra. There's a couple of niche uses for it. Just wondering what your thoughts around like nerfing an item that's good because one champion is really good.
I feel like it's not just one champion though. It's any AP comp that has like recast value. So like Seraphine, Victor,
Ori is the big one.
Ori,
It's really good on Ori.
It's actually insane the amount of value you get from it. So I feel like this is a good change, but it's also gonna bring back AP carries a little bit more as well because it is the best item or one of the best items that you'll be wanting on your AP carry. So I'm predicting a more AD meta for the B patch.
I mean, the thing is that like the thing about Archangel is that like the tempo of the fights in this specific patch slowed down by a lot. The fact that it was like 4 seconds for like every stack, was almost kind of like a buff because the fights are just longer now, so you just get more stacks on it. I think making it 5 seconds is pretty necessary, given the fact that the overall tempo of the game is slowed down a decent amount. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. 10 armor nerf for Bramble Vest. Interesting. Really.
Interesting, actually.
Because if we're predicting an AD patch, premier armor items getting nerfed is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean it's the one chain item that you really want on your team. The rest of them are probably B to A tier, and Bramble is just a must. Blocks all crit, highest armor value in the game.
I mean, I don't think they can solve it this specific set or even next set, but like I think Bramble is really long overdue for a rework with how it interacts with crit, because BS, that single item completely invalidates a form of damage, but at the same time, because crit as a mechanic has shown itself to be very problematic in the way it sort of amplifies damage, so Bramble almost feels like a necessary evil. I mean, this feels like a... I was just finished with saying that like this almost feels like a sort of just a band-aid solution to the power of Bramble Fest at the moment. Yeah.
A change I think would be quite good would be a % of the crit reduction depending on your star level. So you have a 3-star carry. It blocks like 90% crit damage, and then like booster 80, say 80%.
I thought a lot more. Yeah.
Like,
wait, there's no reason. You finish first. Yeah.
It would like make a lot more sense to not just reroll for like a reroll comp, but reroll so you that have a strong 2 or 3 cost tank that you can stack items on and actually make it feel worth it outside of just like amplification for their health and their abilities.
I was gonna say there's a reason that they've like been slowly moving away from just things that render you completely immune to like a specific type of damage, right? I don't play set 1. There was a mechanic called Dragon. Basically made it so that like Dragon units were completely immune to magic damage. And if you're playing an AP comp, it's just BG. I think Bramble is similar like power level where like you're like into assassins, you just have this one unit that just completely invalidates all the damage, and yeah, if it's like on like a unit like Vex or the Nerf, it's like just what can they do, right?
Absolutely. Buff to Chemtech. Interesting. A little bit extra attack speed at 3 and 7 and 9. And a bit of extra attack speed at 7 and 9. Health regen, sorry, at 7 and 9. I've been seeing a lot of Chemtech recently. Like, it's actually really good. The value of Chemtech spat is so high because basically every 5 cost in the game wants damage reduction, health regen, and attack speed in some form, because like the stats that it gives you are so powerful that every high value unit in this game wants it just more than anything.
Chem Jinx, Chem Jace, Chem Essa, Chem any 5 cost. Maybe not Chem Yumi, that might be the only one that's 1 Chem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. I'm surprised. And it's also interesting because Chem is the way that the meta is going at the moment, it's the fights are going longer. Chem is like a late game comp that you build into. You don't start with Twitch singed Zac and like go vertically up from there. Basically, you kind of end up at Chem Tech a lot of the time.
You always transition out of like the Twitch and like the early singed, right? It's not like Set 5 where you start with Gragas, like whatever.
Yeah, Gragas, Kha'Zix.
Gragas, Kha'Zix, Soraka, and like you only cut the Kha'Zix, and sometimes you play the Kha'Zix as well. Yeah, it's not like that kind of vertical, right? You pivot out of like the 1 cost and into like 4 costs and stuff like. Yeah.
But maybe we'll see that be a lot more viable this patch with these changes, and especially with instant injection. If you can get 7 Chemtech in, I think you'll cruise for a free top 2 a lot of the time.
See it. I can definitely see it. Like if you have like the augments to give you extra traits, extra spats. Probably like I think Singed and Twitch are probably just too weak like game to ever justify running, but like you can definitely play like Warwick or something in the late game.
And then
Yeah.
Chemtech Kai'Sa would be a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, oh my god. We'll get to Kai'Sa in a second. Protector is getting a 2-second shield nerf. Yes. Good news. Good news all around. Good news. Can I get a thumbs up from the other members of the panel, please?
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
I don't know. I
Spotify
disagree.
listeners can't see it. But
I
thumbs up. No,
disagree.
fuck protectors. Fuck League more.
No. I feel like they're gonna have to buff it to 5 seconds next patch because 4 is pretty much nothing.
4 is really weak. It's kind of a big nerf. Yeah.
And this is on top of all the other changes that are innately nerfing the only comps that you play protectors in. So I think 4's too much. It should have been 5, but I guess we'll see.
Nah, fuck that.
4's
Fuck protectors.
Fuck
4's
protectors,
still
right?
might be strong.
Okay, here's the thing about protectors instead. Protectors are in a really weird spot where like every other trait, like every other frontline can be played horizontally except for protectors.
Yeah, it's not a horizontal trait.
Yeah, protector is only good when played as a vertical. It's just like it's always kind of parasitic in that like either really good together, like as in like it's either worth playing or it's not worth playing, right? Like 3-star Garen, 3-star Kassadin is either like super good, so you should play it, or like it's like garbage and you shouldn't play it. You can't splash those units into like any other comp. Like you can't splash 2-star Kassadin really, not really. You definitely can't splash 2-star Garen. So it's like yeah, and Blitz is like not even a protector. Let's be real.
Yeah, your endgame board is not like 3 protector as a splash. You're either like hyper rolling for it, or you're getting protector spat and winning the lobby, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Protected Cho'Gath.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess you could kind of classify Sion as a protector now that he's actually a tank, because Sion Blitz as your frontline now late game, and it's actually kind of good, but
Sure, it's good, but
I mean, yeah,
you still don't want to play Sion by itself, right? Like you don't want to take up the 2 slots in vertical in like.
No, you can play Sion by itself. It's actually really good. If you have tank items on Sion, it's actually really fucking good. That unit's kind of insane.
But I more mean from like the protector standpoint as well.
Right,
Like you never end up at Sion in the protector comp.
Never end up Sion. Yeah, that's correct. If you play like the Kog'Maw reroll comp, yeah, you do not play Sion. It's not me.
Yeah, so protectors is really missing a 3 cost, to be honest. One of Garen or Kassadin should have been a 3 cost. And it would have been a really interesting and fine and like
I agree.
splashable trait that would have worked. Right now it's it's nothing. It's too polarizing at the moment.
So, you know what? That's actually a really good point you brought up, Cutler. That there's no 3-cost protector. There's a 3-cost bodyguard and there's a 3-cost user, and they both feel like they are the glue of like their respective front lines, right? Like especially in the early to mid game, Galio and Zac.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Whereas there isn't. Guys go.
A change I would have wanted to see if I had any say in this patch would be, or in this set would be, put Garen as a 3-cost protector and make his ability his E from in-game, and he just reflects damage while he gets a shield. I feel like that could be a really good interaction.
I'll be down for that.
And I don't think that they'll get rid of protectors going into the next set, but I think that I actually think that we might see a total rework of it, where because Colossus will go, they'll probably also get rid of Mutant as well, because I think
Mutant's like an easy one, right?
If Mutant and Colossus go, you're down to 2 protectors. So you need a 3 and a 4 cost protector. You could also make a 5 cost protector if you really wanted to. So I think we'll see a much more vertical version of protector with like splashability and availability in the late game.
I was gonna say, just remove set 6 Urgot, bring back set 3 Urgot. Use a protector.
Oh god.
Okay, let's go.
Already got PTSD from set 3 Urgot.
3 Urgot, yeah.
Make whatever the guy from Arcane is, make him a protector.
Which guy? There's a lot of guys from Arcane. Wait.
The one that's coming in, it's not illegal.
Oh, Silco!
Yeah.
Silco! I'm down!
Make
Actually,
Silco a protector.
Make Silco a protector. I'm fucking down.
Make him a 5 cost protector.
It makes sense, like, lore-wise. It's lit. I'm down. Silco
Yeah.
protector. He protects Jinx. Protects Jinx! Holy shit, he protects Jinx! Let's go! Hey, I'm down.
We actually just solved the game.
Solved the game. Yeah, we figured out we won TFT, guys. Holy fuck, it's lit.
Guys, if you haven't seen Arcane yet, 1, what are you doing? And 2, what are you doing? Go and watch Arcane. Bug fixes. 6 Sniper no longer grants its bonus damage to the entire team. What the fuck?
Okay, I did not know this was the case. What the
Nobody,
fuck?
nobody plays 6 Sniper.
I did not know this was the case. Wait, what the fuck?
I'll tell you what, when I'm coaching people in gold, I see 6 Sniper. So
I mean 6 Sniper is good though. 6 Sniper is so much.
It's like
damage.
actually
It's
good.
not bad. Yeah.
But that's the thing, like you don't see it. So it's amazing they caught this in the first place.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Archangel staff no longer stacks AP while equipped on bench units.
See, I heard about this, but I never saw it for myself.
Does anyone know what that actually means? I'm confused.
So the units that were sitting on the bench got the bonus AP, basically. And then when you would put them in, they would have more AP than they'd started with, basically.
Wait, what the fuck? Wait, what? Wait, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what? That's how it worked?
Apparently
Holy
someone only
shit.
discovered it about 2 days ago. So
Wait, that explains why everyone's starting tier then.
yeah.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
Maybe I won't play any games tonight.
Okay, I'm definitely not playing this patch. What the fuck? What the hell? This bug's in the game.
Yeah, just wait till the morning. Wait till the morning.
Wait, that's how it worked? Okay, no, because Adam, shout out to Adam Rane. He brought it up to me in my chat ages ago, but I was like, I didn't know what he meant. He was like, apparently there's a bug regarding Archangel getting AP against on bench. I was like, huh? I don't know what that means. And then, oh, I see. Well, shit. Huh. Explains everything. Explains everything, doesn't it?
Yep.
It probably inflates Akali win rate as well, because you play like Archangel with Akali, so like the units probably just get inflated.
Okay. That concludes the B patch, basically. There's a lot going on. That took 40 minutes because it's a fucking big B patch, basically. It's like a full patch, essentially.
Basically a full patch. It could be a full patch. Like,
I mean, realistically, at the moment, there is a lot that needs to be done. I want to ask you guys, what's missing from this list? Buffs or nerfs? I'm going to start. I'm going to say Kai'Sa needs to be nerfed. 100%. It's too good.
Really?
I think Kai'Sa 1 and 2 are way too good. I think that a unit that has... it's basically like what Akali is doing at the moment, but it's been doing it the whole time. Kai'Sa is just too flexible.
Yeah. I'm assuming like fully itemized like Kai'Sa, right?
Yeah, but you don't need perfect items, Kai'Sa. If you just have any 3 items, it's a bit like sort of I'm trying to think of like an example from previous, but there's not a lot of examples of units that were really
I mean, is this just Kale, but like an
yeah,
AP version of Kale? She's just
kind
Kale,
of.
but an AP version of Kale, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I will say I have been noticing a lot of Kai'Sas shitting on me on ladder, but I always just attributed that to Mutant being OP. But you might be onto something.
No,
That's
it's
what I
fucking
actually
dude. It's Kai'Sa because
It's
you know
Kai'Sa. It's
what do you
not
even
Kai'Sa, yeah.
like. So here's what happens in a lot of lobbies right now, especially a lot of the high elo Chinese lobbies that I've been watching. Okay, so here's what happens: 3 people go mutant, 1 person rerolls, 1 person plays 3-star Malzahar. Sorry, I'm flipping off the camera, and 1 person fast 8s for Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa, yeah. Okay.
And so they all play a different mutant carry basically, and then they all
5 head as fuck, by the way.
And they all top 4 essentially.
Yeah.
And like all 3 of them are like Washi Cho'Gath. Like,
Holy
basically,
fuck, man, I
they
wanna know
just
what Cho'Gath is for Chinese. Wait, I
they
wanna know
just
what
they
Cho'Gath is
just
for
share
Chinese.
units. Basically, they're just like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll give that guy Caston 3, you can have Mouse 3, you can have Cho 3, and you get Kaiser 2. And they're like, okay, let's just fucking everyone gets one mutant,
It's hilarious.
and then let's just go. So Kaiser is
actually
way too good right now. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
like 10 different kinds of fucking Kaiser build, like shitting on anybody. Like, my board got fucking 2-hit by Hodge, IE Kaiser yesterday. Like, what the fuck?
All right, okay. I'm down for okay, cool. I'm down for Kaiser. I'm down for Kaiser.
So I really think Kaiser needs a ability nerf because her second cast is so strong. If the first cast spreads like full spreads Morello's, full spreads Giant Slayer for 80% bonus damage, the second cast just kills every unit on the board. It's not even close, really. So there's a lot of like mutant sharing going on at the moment, and I just think Kaiser is like the biggest. Kaiser is the biggest offender because it gives mutant players an out to say, I don't need to compete with you for the shit that's really broken. I can play the unit. I can play the slightly weaker versions of your units that are still really overpowered and just go up and get the better unit before you do, basically.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, that's interesting.
So don't play this patch and people get off it immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also down for mutants. Just like get the fuck out of for 615. I mean, I really appreciate what they did with it. I think it's really fucking cool and it changed every game. But holy crap, has mutant been a nightmare to balance? It's been so broken this entire set, I swear.
I tell you what,
it's
mutant literally just needs
so
to be the Omnivamp one and the Execute one, and that's it. Then it'd be balanced.
The cyber one's fine as well.
I don't know. Cyber one's like still better than what it should be. Like it's because raw HP, AD, and AP stack excessively well with augments. That like you're always extra beneficial from combat related augments if you have any combat mutant, basically. So you just have infinite stacking, and that's why Cho'Gath. So like that's the big problem with Cho'Gath. Basically, he just inherently stacks with literally everything that you can get him. Ridiculous. Anyway, do you guys? I went on a little rant there. Do you guys think that anything's missing from this B patch? Any nerfs, any buffs that you guys think that are needed? I'll start with Maxi on this one.
Bring back Set 5 Garen.
Set 5 Garen? Wait, why? He's in the set.
I really enjoyed it.
I love Set 5 Garen.
I mean, going from a 5 cost to a 1 cost, he feels so underappreciated. He does nothing.
That's not what I meant. I mean, Jace is basically Set 5 Garen. Can we be real here? Like,
yeah,
shields a bunch, shreds resistances, doesn't ever fucking die. That sounds like Set 5 Garen to me. The one more doesn't even go to town. Sounds like Set 5 Garen to me. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they've nerfed him a bunch now at this point, but I don't know. I feel
he's pretty good backline. I really like it.
I feel like melee Jace was basically Set 5 Garen for a really long time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Jace 2 is still way too broken, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering. Jace 2 is like
the unit is still not balanced.
Infinitely broken. So I'm shocked that he's escaped again.
It may be unbalanced in Diamond Platinum, but Challenger feels pretty good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast tonight.
No, it's good.
It's pretty funny.
No, I mean like, I watched 5 Chinese games today where the top 2 players both had Jace 2.
True.
I need to get on this Chinese review because I feel like the Chinese is so cracked at TNT.
It's just like, it's really fun to watch for a start. It's just like everything's way too good right now, basically, in this game. Like all the units are way too good on like a basic power level. It's an interesting one. We're going to move right along. We got a main topic to talk about, and that is friendship. The power of friendship.
And family.
Fast and the Furious 10 TFT edition. Guys, we're talking about family and friends and you know, loving life and enjoying playing video games. Because Maxi is one of the premier components in the entire OCE community of join me in Discord for 5 games today. This man is in your Discord quicker than you can say, did your queue pop? And I think
100%.
I thought this would be a really interesting and fun topic to talk about. And that's the idea of playing with your friends in this game and how to benefit from and like what we can learn from that for a fact. We're going to talk about solo queue first. We'll go into duo mode afterwards, but Maxi, from your perspective, you're on a friend's stream, you're playing games in their lobby, you're hanging out with them, you're chatting to them about the game. Has it made you a better TFT player?
100%. I don't really have like a methodical approach to TFT. It's more experience based. So like being able to talk with someone in real time and essentially do some of a VOD review with someone like in real time when I have like any questions or things I'm unsure about has made me think about things in such a different way where like, well, as you can see, I've skyrocketed like 600 LP in a week. So I definitely feel there's some value there, but it's also an enjoyment level. When you're playing the same games almost every day, it can get a little bit boring. You can like burn out sometimes, but it just adds like a lot more fun to it. Like old LAN parties used to be, but I guess it's just like the new COVID time. So like you can't really have LAN anymore. So this is probably the best you've got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting one, isn't it? I got another question here, and that's what's it like to play competitively in lobbies with your friends? Do you?
Oh, it's so much fun.
Isn't it just the best time?
Yeah, especially if you've got a high profile player in your game as well. It's a little bit of shit talking, a little bit of banter, but see if you guys can beat whoever's in your lobby and try and top 2 together. And also the comms help, so you make sure you're not running the same thing as someone else.
It's the clashes and friend groups on like a lobby that are like the most fun. Like you see like Keith and Jose in like your lobby, and you know like they're already on fucking call or some shit, and then you're chilling there with Maxi, and you guys are in call, and then like there's a bunch of other guys who are there as well who probably know each other. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, isn't it? If you had to say from your personal perspective, Maxi, why it is you liked playing with friends from like your perspective, what do you think would be like the number one thing?
The number one thing is I'm sitting in my room for like 10 plus hours a day, right? This is like my form of socializing where I get to do something I enjoy and I still get to hang out with cool people, right? So I feel like, especially with work and uni, it is like a really low effort way to spend time with people and have fun.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, look, if I can sort of break the mold on how I met Maxi in the first place, Maxi was like learning the game still. Like he was like a roundabout plat diamond trying to work on his games. And we just ran into each other in like a completely different stream community. And all of a sudden we start messaging each other relatively often about when are you free to play? When have you got time? Do you want to get in a call for this game? What's going on? What are you doing today? You want to make time for this? Oh, dude, I went second in this game. That kind of thing. Realistically, going to meet anybody in this game, people will say that it's scary, but it's actually a little bit easier than people make it out to be. I think that if you're a part of a TFT community, you're about 99% of the way there, to be honest. You're pretty much like almost there. I mean, all three of us at different points in the last year have joined a random game, coached a person that they barely know, or done a duo game with a friend or something like that, just to blow off some steam. And it's a really fun way to connect with people. Really, really enjoyable way. And I guess one of the main reasons that I wanted to bring this sort of topic to everybody today was to kind of talk to somebody like Maxi, who this is basically how he got good at TFT, if that's fair to say. He basically like met a bunch of people who were willing to, who wanted to learn and wanted to play and wanted to get better and hang out. And Maxi himself just said a second ago that it's basically the best way for him to learn, how to get better, really. It's a really interesting thing. Sol, I want to ask you the question. What can we learn? Like, what can we learn from playing with friends in solo queue?
Oh, that's a big question. And I feel like my answer is not going to be very specific, but everything, literally everything. Because everyone has the different approach to the game. Everyone has different ideas on what they think is good, what they think is bad. And I feel like the only way you can actually arrive at something somewhat close to the truth is if you collaborate with other people, if you discuss with other people, right? It's so hard, and I'm gonna say it's almost impossible to figure this game out by yourself. You really need to have friends, helping you to learn from, to test, to borrow a scientific term. You need people to help you test your hypothesis on specific ideas, if that makes sense. If you don't have anyone to bounce those ideas off of, you're never gonna get even close. You're never gonna get anywhere close. What's good and right. So yeah, I think it's super, super important.
Okay, I've got two things to add to that. One of them is that essentially it's been me and one other person out of the people that we met most of the time that we play with. It's either been say Dani's been 10 LP off Challenger, I've been 0 LP. He'll give me some advice and it'll help me a lot. Or then I'll be 600 LP and then helping someone else that's struggling at the moment, because everyone performs better on different patches. So it just depends on who's clicked with the patch the most, who can help everyone else out as well. And the second thing is, I think it was one of the first probably one of the first 5 or 10 games I played with Cutler. I messaged him one day and he literally just sniped my comp I was running. So, yeah, I never hit you up about that, but Madge, so Madge.
Look, guys, if you want to make friends in this game, all you have to do is steal their comp and then invite them on your podcast a year later to make up for it.
True.
Oh, God. I mean, look, to be honest, I think that's really funny. I don't even remember. That's how bad that...
I'm pretty sure it was Karma in early set 5.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. That sounds reasonable. That sounds very, very reasonable. I remember very clearly when I knew that Maxi was going to be a good player. I hadn't played a lot of set 5. I'd been away on a work trip, and Maxi and I were both low master at this time. I wasn't playing a lot of set 5 anyway, so I was around 0 LP. And Maxi was pretty similar. And then I come back 5 days later, and he's 760 LP. I'm what the fuck? It's been 4 days. What the fuck happened to this guy? Where'd he come from? A week ago, he was dude, you're so good at this game. I really need help. Can you spend some time looking over my games? And then a week later, I'm dude, can you help me out? What's going on? What do you know that I don't know about this game? And Maxi is absolutely correct when he says a patch can have so much influence on just an overall enjoyment of the game and an overall level of skill that you have within this game. So 2 weeks from now, a friend of yours, anybody's friend who's listening to this, could be could all of a sudden go up 2 or 3 ranks on the ladder, could go up 3 or 4 all the way up to whatever it may be. So, you know, it's one of those things where a patch changes a lot of things. So I think that's one of the fun things about this game too. We may complain about it. We may complain about all the crazy buffs and all the crazy nerfs, but at the end of the day, the fact that the game changes all the time makes you want to keep playing. It's a little bit of like, we're kind of stuck here. We got a bit of Stockholm syndrome, guys. We're kind of stuck in the TFT
Next time
realm.
will be better, right, guys? Next time will be better, right, guys? Kofi? next patch will be better, right?
6.5 waiting room. Anyone else?
Yeah. See you guys in set 7.
Set 7 angle, guys. Set 7 angle.
Let's now talk about Double Up. It's been going for a little bit now. A lot of us are playing it. Some of us are playing it more than others. We'll come back to an issue with Double Up. I have a big issue with it that I put in the show notes because I want to talk about it. But I want to talk about specifically the idea of Double Up at the moment. Are you guys still playing? Are you guys still playing? I know you guys played the Double Up tourney together. Jane's Double Up tourney.
It wasn't Double Up though. It was just duos. It was
just a duo tourney.
It was duos. It was just a duo tourney. Yeah.
Sorry for being too heavy, so...
We found out very quickly...
No, you're fine, man. Dude, you're fine. Like, it's good, it's all good. Like, it could have easily just been the other way around. Like, I could have been the one fucking running it down. It's fine. It's 50.
This has just become a bit of a therapy session, actually, this one. It's like, sorry for inting you this one game. Sorry for not playing well in the 2v2 tourney.
No. Maxi definitely did not hit me. It's just, you know, sometimes the game's just a PG. It's just like that, you know?
Let's talk about 2v2 in general. You guys played in Jane's tourney on the weekend. How was that experience playing together in a 2v2 tourney? It was your guys' first one, I think, right? Both of you?
It was so fun.
Yeah,
it was so fucking fun.
It was so cool.
It was so fun. Holy shit. Oh, I just wish you could have been there, Bodhi. Such.
Yeah.
Yes, it was really fun. Yes, it was really fucking fun. It's okay.
I found you a good replacement. I found you Maxi.
True. I was about to say, I guess if you were there, I wouldn't have had that experience with Ari, so you know.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was good. It was really great.
Yeah, and like TFT related, first time I've actually been on a team and like had to work with someone else and make sure we were both doing well.
True, absolutely.
That was great. I like what they like had the potential to do for the 2v2, like the actual Double Up tournament in the future. Like it could have a lot of potential, but I was just looking at the ladder before. Rank 1 is Pong, who's at 7,000, and rank 2 is Fortune, chosen at 6,200. So like at the top, there's such massive disparity, and I feel like because we only get one representative for Double Up from OCE, I feel like Pong has this in the bag, and it's going to be ridiculously hard for anyone to even come close. Like, he's 1,500 above third place, which is just insane when you're thinking, like, it's 40.
How does it work? Is it just whoever's highest rating, or what?
Yeah, the person who's in first gets to bring their teammate of, like, their choice.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so when you're getting 40 LP for a win, that's like, you're gonna need so many points.
Yeah, it is it's a very interesting thing. I'll talk about like the ladder specifically in a minute. What I want to know is it good enough? And I'll talk to Saul about this one. Is it good enough to come back in its current state?
Its exact current state, I mean, some balance changes, some system changes for sure will need to be made. I think the overall sentiment is that's really, really fun. And yeah, it should definitely come back.
Yeah.
Yes. I think in its current state, it's a little bit unbalanced, but I think that's smoothed out. It is a beta after all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like they haven't put any nerfs or buffs into it yet. But that's because they're really just collating data at the moment. So there's actually not a significant amount of difference you can get out of it. I will say that it's been really fun. I would have much definitely much preferred a better ranking system for it. I really hate this like secondary ranking system that they've got going on at the moment. So
Yeah.
whatever is going on, like if there is
It's
a
just
way to make
hard.
it better,
It's just hard to do the league ranking system though without it like being directly incorporated into the client. Because the way the league ranking system works, it's very tied into the actual client itself. But yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think it's probably better if we have something more than just an arbitrary number. But
yeah. Especially since the #1 account currently on North America is like a Chinese boosted account.
oh, I've heard about that. I have heard about that issue.
And they're
I
not
heard
dealing
about
with
that.
it right now. I want to talk about Maxi. I want to get your final thoughts. Just make sure your mic's okay. How you doing over there?
Is it working now, or do I need to reset it?
I can hear you now. Yeah, it's good. There was just like a bit of
Hear
a bit of a squeal in the background. I'm not sure. I think it might have just been your mic. You're very quiet though.
I don't. I had to turn down my input. There's a bit of static in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries. I might just turn you up a little bit more then.
Sweet.
Try again for me.
Yeah. So what were you asking? Sorry.
Oh, that's much better. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to know sort of your overall thoughts on like double up the game mode.
I feel like it's a really cool game mode. I like it a lot more than Hyper Roll, just completely. Hyper Roll was a fun idea, but it reminds me a lot of like Set 3, different universe where you just have faster games in general. So double up, a really cool concept there. You can actually play on a team and not just solo, playing against the rest of the lobby. So I'm a really big fan of it, and I can't imagine they'll do too many changes to it. The only one being maybe they have like 8 teams of 2 in a lobby instead of 4, but they would have to make a pretty big adjustment to the client to be able to fit that. So I don't think it's completely unreasonable to hope for, but I think it's quite good at the moment. Maybe just a few champion balances.
The longer we're on the league client, the worse off we're going to be with these kind of game modes, to be honest.
Great. Yeah.
The longer we stay here on this client, I mean, fuck, man. It's so shit.
I mean, look, they're working on it. They have said that, they're working on it. I mean, so I guess set 8 will have our own client.
Yes. I don't know. When are we getting spectator mode?
I was gonna say, we still have spectator mode. So, I mean, yeah, maybe set 9. Maybe set 9 will have our own client.
Yeah.
Set 10 by the latest, or I'm out.
Set 10 by the latest. I like it.
See you guys in set 11 PBE.
Yeah.
Who knows? Look, I think I'd like to cap off this discussion about playing with friends with a pretty simple question to both of you. I'll start with Maxi, because the reason that I brought you on, Maxi, is because I really wanted to talk about these kind of topics. And my question to you is, if they made it impossible to Q snipe your friends, let's just say in an imperfect world where that was possible, where like you couldn't tell when you and your friends were getting into game together, would you like TFT as much?
Probably not, because a little bit of the enjoyment does come from the social interaction with it. But I do feel like it'd be more, you'd just stream it and people would come chat to you there. So it's more one-sided, but I still think it'd be just as good of a game. However, the sniping does present a few issues of its own. It is like a nice little feature for people that don't have the option to automatically queue up with someone.
Master and above, basically.
Yeah. And like that's not going to be possible to fix, I don't think, unless they do. People on your friends list can't get in your game. Then for smaller regions like OCE, where like most people do know each other, we'll just never find games then, right? So I don't feel like it's possible for them to fix.
Yeah, and I don't think they really need to fix it. I guess my question is more like how much of this game's enjoyment is derived from playing with friends. And it's nice to hear that like the interest in the game is still like widely there. The more that I think about this question, the more I realize that like I have way less fun when I play by myself now. Like, so much less fun. So, kind of being behind everybody at the moment, you know, not being like not even being in master because of time constraints is like, well, geez, I have to get to master to kind of have fun with the game, but I also don't have a lot of time to get to master. But I'm also not having fun when I'm trying to get to master because I can't play with my friends. So it's a really interesting balance point, like on an emotional level. I think realistically, a lot of this kind of stuff is fixed, funnily enough, in a mid set when everybody just drops one full rank. So anytime you're master and above, you drop to D4. So you actually just get to play with your friends the whole way, basically. As opposed to like, oh, my friend made it to master in 3 days, and oh, I've been on a work trip, so I'm currently gold 3. Like, oh, okay, well, I can't play with my friend anymore. Basically, for another 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. So what are your thoughts on sort of the enjoyment of the game related to friendship?
I mean, okay, for sure. Like, I mean, I've already said a lot about how important I think friends are to just enjoying the game and learning the game. But I feel like for me personally, I don't care as much if I don't like into lobbies with friends as much as I really like talking to friends about the game. If that makes sense. Like, I personally, if for example, if you told me I could never get into a lobby ever again with like any friend, like I wouldn't really think too much about it. As long as I can like still discuss the game with friends. If I couldn't discuss the game with friends, then yeah, I would probably just quit the game. But if I can like still talk to people about like, you know, how their games have been going, what they think is good, the experiences on that have been like, then like it's still really enjoyable.
It's hard to TFT with anyone unless you know someone that actually plays themselves. So it's kind of important to be able to have people that you play with that you can talk about things like this with.
Sure.
Yeah, agreed. We're done with the main topics of our podcast. I have a rant, basically.
Okay.
I will bring you guys both in on this, but I want to start off by saying this morning, Australia time, 12 hours ago ish, maybe 13, 14 hours ago, it was revealed to us that friends of the podcast, that is Keith and Jose, are unable to participate in the championships for the Double Up event happening at the end of, you know, soon. I want to say, not to be facetious or to be contrarian or anything like that, that this is disgraceful. It's really unfair. It's really, really unfair to two people who've basically lit up an entire server and like vowed to be the best at a specific game mode to kind of just be turned away from it. You know, we got to sit here with them and listen to them tell us that they were going to be the best double up players in the world. And they're on their way to proving that, you know, they're like the highest rank on the most competitive server for the most period of time that I can imagine. You know, they've basically been hovering around the top 5, both of them. This isn't just one player. This is 2 players with a combined elo, or whatever you want to call it, of like 15k, essentially.
Yeah, sure.
They've dominated this double up ladder. They've done everything right, and because of their location, they now cannot participate. And if you didn't know that this was going on, I just want everybody who's hearing this for the first time and thinking, man, that really sucks, to think about the Southeast Asian region as a whole and the shit that they have to deal with right now. They don't have a world championship representative. They cannot qualify at all, really, realistically. They kind of have to win well, I mean, can they even qualify through the Oceanic region? No.
No.
It's the closest region to them. They can't classify through the Japanese server, the Chinese server. Obviously, there is a big issue with way out of our understanding when it comes to like a client specifically. But if this is the first time you guys are hearing about this, I just want you to tell somebody that you know that they play TFT about how unfair it is for the Southeast Asian region, because the point of starting this podcast was very specific. We wanted to showcase and highlight people from Oceania and Southeast Asia. That's Australia, New Zealand, all the way up through the Southeast Asian region, places like the Philippines and Thailand, Vietnam, every single other country, Malaysia, Indonesia. I won't name any more because my geography will fail me. But look, if you're listening to this and you think this is shit, I don't want you to go out there and abuse anyone, tell anybody that they made a, I don't want you to go anywhere towards hurting anybody or hurting anybody with your words or your tweets or harassing anybody. What I want you to do is just tell somebody about this injustice that's going on, because the more people that are aware of it, the bigger understanding that we'll have about what needs to be done to make this game better for everybody. Because right now, from a competitive space, the three of us have no problem. We can qualify for a world championship. If we were 8,000 elo on the North American server, we could have qualified for the double up event. It's unfair. It's really unfair. Don't harass anybody. Don't spam tweet anybody. But tell a friend and talk to people about the fact that this is unfair and get it around. Because the more people that know about these problems, the more chance we have of working together to find a solution for it in the future. Having enough people. And just one last time, don't harass anybody about this, guys. But fucking tag TFT and tell them. And tell them that you're upset about it. I did this morning. I tagged them. I told them how unacceptable it was. I'm just one person, but we're not just one person as a community. We're not just one person as a group. We don't speak for the Southeast Asian region, but we can sure as hell band together to give them a helping hand. Look, that's enough from me. I'm going to pass it over to my podcast partner, Sol, now, because you sat here with me while we listened to Jose and Keith and asked them questions about this kind of thing. And what sort of springs to your mind for this kind of thing?
I mean, yeah, I don't even know what to. It's just a really situation, right? Like, I mean, if anyone missed like the episode that we did, because it was pretty early, right? It was only the second episode we did for this podcast, with Jose and Keith. But I mean, yeah, those two are just really, really insane players. Really, really really genuine people as well. I mean, like, we at the time we literally had 0 following as a podcast. We reached out to them. We were like hell yeah, let's go. And like, I don't know, like it's I wanna say that like I don't think I mean I'd like to think that Riot like isn't there's no malicious intent going on here, but like the fact of the matter is that like it's just a really, really shitty situation, and like a lot of it has to do with some of the politics of how C is as a region, in that it's a lot of countries all with their own servers, and I mean it's there's a bunch of things that I personally don't really understand. Like I think it's okay, the bottom line is it's it's obviously unfair and it's really fucking shit, right? But like obviously, as my podcast partner Bodhi pointed out, I don't want anyone to be spouting any hatred towards Riot, like any like just straight up malicious hatred towards Riot, like but at the same time, this is the only way we can sort of tackle this problem. Is we have to sort of work together, right? Like we have to kind of band together. We have to like all kind of nag them endlessly about it, so that they can eventually reach a resolution to the issue, right? This is like, because I can only assume, I can only imagine it's quite complex, and the reason it hasn't been done is because it's like, you know, it's complicated. But at the same time, that doesn't mean like there can't be a fix. That doesn't mean there can't be a solution. And you know, the only way we're gonna get to that solution is if we, you know, make it a point that this is, you know, a very real problem. So that it's actually high enough on their list of priorities that they actually allocate resources, allocate people, figuring out a solution, right? But I mean, other than that, like I don't know. I feel like if I was to keep talking, I would just echo a lot of the same sentiments. Like this is obviously really, really brutal, really, really devastating to hear. Yeah, it's really, really shit. I would say is the bottom line. I don't know.
It sucks.
Change can only come. Change can only come if we keep trying to push for it, I guess. So like, we can't really stop. We can't really give up, right? We have to just keep trying to. Keep complaining, keep nagging, but don't abuse anybody. Don't abuse anybody.
Maxi, I mean, there's probably not much else that we can say about it, but you know, from your perspective, as someone that like, you know, really, you know, looks up to these kind of guys and has conversations with these guys and spends time learning from, talking to, listening to these guys, you know, they should be there, shouldn't they?
Oh, 100%. It's a crime that they're not, and obviously we're not in charge of making any of the decisions, but I feel like, especially with how the most recent Worlds have gone, where they didn't tell players that they had to be in play-ins if they were either in a region that had one person representing them, or if they were at the bottom of the region that they were representing. And that was because they had 4 open slots and they didn't have enough of 3 lobbies, right? How hard is it to do a wildcard spot for regions that aren't eligible, as well as players from regions that could only have 1 spot? And that's 4 extra players that would have had the chance to play at Worlds. And like, it's like a small fix that they'll still need to work on, right? But at least it gives a bit more fairness to people that literally can't play the game unless they move to a different region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, very well said, Maxi. Very, very well said. Justice for SEA, guys. Justice for SEA.
Let's see.
Tell your friends if this is something that bothers you, you know, if you're a player from OCE, if you've listened to us, you'll know Jose and Keith. You'll love them. You'll follow them on Twitch. You know, most of you will probably be sub to them or have played against them in hundreds of games, and you'll know that what they've done deserves recognition in this game in some way. Like they both deserve to be recognized in some way for being good TFT players. Like, you know, the game can do better. We don't know how it can do better, but we want to be able to tell them that they can do better.
How about we all message GB99 to make a documentary about the struggle of this year?
That's a great idea. And then I'm going to subtweet Mort about it. No, don't do that.
No, do not tweet Mort. Mort is completely not responsible for this specific department. Yeah.
Mort just balances the game. He doesn't
Not
have
yeah,
to kind
do
of
not,
pull in the situation.
absolutely nobody like DM or like shit on Mort for this.
Look, if you guys are going to DM Mort, tell him that he's doing a fucking great job, because he doesn't deserve half of the vitriol that man gets. So
For sure, absolutely.
I'm just going to wrap it up there. That's really it. Justice for SEA. Tell your friends, guys. You know, get the word out there. You know, tweet TFT that you think it's a bit unfair. You know, let them know that, like, there's a whole group of people out there that don't deserve this. So,
For sure.
that's really going to bring us to the end of the podcast, guys. We will have a podcast next week, a Christmas episode. We aren't doing questions tonight because we didn't get any questions. But that's okay, and that's all right. That's fine. We have a patch tomorrow, so we can't there's not much that we can say that's not going to change by the time you guys listen to this, if you're listening to it on audio or on YouTube later on. So come back next week. We have a special Christmas episode 1 week from today. We're going to Sol and I are going to write Christmas lists, what we want from Santa Mort, and what we can expect for 2022 as well. First of all, though, before we get out of here, Maxi, it's been great.
Thank you for having me, guys. I've really
Lovely.
enjoyed it. I didn't think I'd have enough to talk about for a full 90 minutes, but here we are.
It goes quickly, guys. It goes quickly. You know, when you're sitting here, you don't really think that it's going quickly until you look up and it's been an hour and a half. Or in Sol and Mai's case, 2.5 hours for the patch episode. Maxi, yeah, it's been great. Maxi, I'm going to give you this chance now to shout out where people can find you if they're listening to you on the audio, or if anybody that doesn't know you. Of course, he's a member of the OCE/SEA community, and that's why he's here. So, Maxi, go and tell us where everyone can find you.
You can find it on Twitch TV/MaxibonBloke. I am in New Zealand, so my streams will be during the early evening if you're an Australian listener. But every now and then I'll do a DGen stream, so if you're up late, you might see me on there. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. To my incomparable duo, my pod partner, Sol, thank you very much. Where can everybody find you if they don't already know who you are?
Sons_TFT on Twitch and on Twitter. Even though I have not been using Twitter much these days. But yeah, same place as always.
And, for me, guys, Cutler TFT, if you have watched this live or watched this on Twitch for whatever reason on the VOD, you know where to find me. It's twitch.tv/CutlerTFT. It's at CutlerTFT on Twitter. We are live every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So for the three of us, guys, thank you very much for listening to the Roll Down. And we will see you next week for a special Christmas episode. Thanks, guys.